Hi, my name's Andy and we're here at Dragonmeet 2014. I'm here with Carlos to talk about Faith, the sci-fi RPG. Hi Carlos.
Hello.
Thanks for chatting to us. Can you describe Faith, the sci-fi RPG to us?
You want to talk about the mechanics or the universe of Faith?
Well, just introduce the game to us. How does it work?
How does it work? Well, basically what we wanted to do is put the art on the table. So all the gear and all the NPCs, they come in different cards.
Yep.
They are not kept in the book and you write down the name and that's it. And also, we have replaced dice with cards.
Okay.
These cards, they all have the different illustrations of the different locations of the game, and the final deck actually will have a different illustration in each card.
Yep.
So how does it work? It's fairly simple. Each player, when they begin, they draw up to 7 cards.
Yep.
The GM does as well.
Yep.
Okay? So this is your hand of cards, and it's kind of like your stamina. When you start to play cards and start to run out of cards, it's like your character is getting tired.
Yep.
And basically, the game is kept streamlined because whenever you do an action, which value, and your skill is 1 or more, is automatically successful.
Okay.
The story keeps going. I want to clean that. Okay, you can do it. Keep up. But when it's dramatically interesting, the GM can confront it.
Yep.
Because the GM has a hand of cards as well. He cannot confront whatever he wants. So this kind of forces the GM to keep his confrontations for the dramatically interesting moments. Also, when you do something to someone, that someone can confront the action, of course.
Yep.
So you want to shoot at me, I will be able to dodge, I will try to shoot back at you perhaps before you hit me, and things like that.
Okay.
When there's a confrontation going on is when cards and all the rules kind of come together.
Yep.
So for example, how to explain? Basically, you want to have a final action value higher than the action value of the other guy. Your action is shooting at me, my action is dodging.
Yep.
So how do we calculate that action value? Well, we take the skill as the base of the value, and we increase that value with the value of the cards you play. You can play as many cards as the attribute you are using for that action. Okay, so if I were to be this character who has ballistics 1 and dexterity 2, and I play this 12 and this 10, my final action value will be 21.
Yep.
And that should be higher than yours, or I would fail.
Yep.
Okay? And that's the main mechanic. Then there is a very nice add to this mechanic that I think is the nicest one, which is the advantage and disadvantage rule.
Yep.
How does it work? Basically, whoever has disadvantage in the action plays 1 card less. So this is very important. And how can you gain this? You can gain it by the gear that you're using, because it's good and it gives you advantages for what you are doing. And you can also gain them through role playing. So you can kind of tell stories into the mechanical parts of the game. You can say, well, when I'm going to repair this drone, I'm going to check the blueprints and I'm going to read the manual and things like that. The game master can say, well, that's better than not doing that, so I will give you an advantage. Yep. Or you can say, I'm going to take cover, or I'm going to go to uphill, and things like that to gain different advantages. And it's up to the game master and the players to find the balance on that.
Oh, brilliant. So these decks can actually be replaced with standard card decks as well, if you've got an extra player
with
deck.
With a normal poker deck, you can replace it perfectly.
Brilliant. And why did you choose cards instead of dice? Was that a very specific choice?
Well, 2 reasons. One, we can put all the art on the cards,
yep.
And this helps characters, players, to get into the characters and into the universe. Sci-fi settings especially are quite hard for players because it's harder to imagine than fantasy settings, for example.
Yep.
And we think it's kind of sad that you have a beautiful book and you read it, all the art is there, is wonderful, then you are playing it and the book is sitting close on the side. Here we wanted to have all the art on the table. That's one reason, is aesthetic reason, and the mechanical reason is because in the game, instead of rolling a random dice or drawing a random card, you get a hand of cards. And whenever you play cards, you choose one between those. So your character you can choose how to manage the luck of your character. Okay? You will have to play all the high ones and the low ones at the end of the day, but you can choose when and how and so on. And there are different strategies that come out of this.
Oh, brilliant. That's cool. So, Faith, is this a brand new sort of lore? Is it a brand new galaxy? Is it all created by yourself?
Myself and my other team members.
Yep. So, do you want to give any details away about the?
Yes. I can talk about the basic. We didn't want to go into the most.
That's fine.
Basically, the game is set around two concepts. One is we wanted to be very scientifically accurate about our science facts. We actually have been talking with some students from physics and things like that to get the right answers for things. And the other thing is we wanted to give an edge to that and have one element that breaks the rules of physics. And those are the gods, and that's why the game is called Faith. Okay. Basically, how the gods work is they are moral paths that the characters can follow. So each god represents one moral path, and for as long as the character plays into that kind of way of living, he will get rewarded by that god with powers. Okay. And whenever he strikes loose from that, he deviates from it, he will start to losing those powers, but a different god who finds him worthy of his powers will give him new ones. So you can choose to be like a selfish kind of character and be rewarded for it, or a person who gives it all and sacrifices for others and also be rewarded by it. And this mechanic this kind of story mechanic thing going on is, I think, is very useful for the characters, for the players to stay in character. Okay, brilliant. And also, the game is based around this universe connected by the maze. The maze is a wormhole that it has no one exit and one entrance. It has thousands of them. Okay. It's like a big labyrinth of connections that connects thousands of different solar systems and places and so on. And the species of the game are species that randomly have met traveling through those places. The two main ones are the Corvo, who are technologically advanced and very individualistic beings who don't want to be told what to do, and they grow up to be their own kind of person. And we also have the Ithcal, who believe the contrary. They believe in community, in serving others and finding happiness through that. And then you have the humans. The humans kind of went almost extinct by their own wrongdoings, and they were found by the Corvo. The Corvo took them in as cheap labor, soldiers, and so on, because they are actually stronger than the other two species. Okay. But they were doing some rebellious things, and then most of the humans have now been put into cryostasis. Okay. So the Corvo only wake them up whenever they need them, but there's of course few humans who are free, and they try to maybe create their own society again or join any of the other societies and so on. So what we wanted to really do is get some story and morality into the game. We wanted to make you think about, for example, if you live in the Corvo society, are you going to go with that, or are you going to try to help the poor and the needy? If you are in the Ithcal society, are you going to go with everyone? Are you going to try to get rights for the minorities and things like that?
That sounds like a really interesting universe. The game's not out yet, is it? When can you sort of get your hands on it?
Okay, the game will be kickstarted on February 2015. Okay. So at the beginning of Kickstarter.
Brilliant. So let's keep an eye out for that.
Yes.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for chatting to us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Really great time. Hi, my name's been Andy at Dragonmeet 2014. If you want to check out more of our videos, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.